Hello everyone. Episode 27 of your soon-to-be favorite podcast about NFL in the off-season. Road to Superbowl is here with it. New camera, new angles. You won't see that in 28 to 31 episode because this is the second time I'm doing Lions because first time I've done them, somehow I forget to put my mic up, so the sound was really dreadful, so I'm doing this once again. And given that I was awaiting some things, I got back to this and recording this post Carolina Panthers. So up to episode 31, you will see it back in the old mode, this one, and the last episode, which is going to be Cleveland Browns, you will see with this one. Let me know down in the comments if this is better, if you appreciate this more. It's definitely more comfortable for me. Also, the sound should be slightly better, because we are using a better machine to do stuff. The same with camera. I try to small myself, but actually you can see more of me, so you cannot see that much my face, but overall more of me. I hope that's for better, though there is a lot of me, so maybe we need to cut on that, but that's problems for future me, not for you, not for anyone else. So Road to Super Bowl, episode 27, Detroit Lions are here. What are we doing here? Well, we try to give you glimpses and, not only glimpses, but also give you a perspective of what it's like to be GM in the NFL. How do you evaluate your season? How do you evaluate your contracts, players, how they coexist with your Super Bowl window? Because ultimately that's what you're trying to do. And as a general manager, I think your biggest obligation is to try to get value contracts, try to draft well, and obviously follow the cap hit in order to maximize your opportunity to win the Super Bowl. Rest is on the players and the coaches. Here we're gonna talk about them, but we are not pretending to be them. We are trying to play more of the role of a GM. How do we do it? What's the sequence? First of all, we take a look at 2023 season for each and every single team. So today it's gonna be Lions. Then, if it needs to be, we will focus on free agency as a whole for a team. Spoiler alert, for Lions, I don't think it's necessary because we will talk about minor signings or all the signings or all the deals that they have done within the rundown. In the rundown, you are gonna get full disclosure of players that I believe were significant contributors or will be significant contributors for 2024 season or were in 2023. With weaponry, we are talking about quarterbacks, running backs, wide receivers, and tight ends. In offensive line, guards, centers, tackles. Defensive line, we also include linebackers in this. Secondary, obviously, your safeties and cornerbacks. And with coaches, we also take a look at specialties, specifically for kickers and punters. For each and every single team, we have 3 topics to discuss. There are not that kind of differs team to team, are definitely team specific topics. So here for the Lions is key decisions made by coaches. Obviously what I'm talking is about Dan Campbell going for it at that game against San Francisco, and ultimately they didn't convert on those plays and San Francisco won the game. What does it mean for the future of this franchise or for the trust with this coaching staff? Then it's Goff or off. Obviously, the huge debate needs to be because Jared Goff only has 1 year left on his deal, and it's a question whether will they resign him for what kind of money. And the third one is just why not us? This just refers to why should not it's something that they have as a signing on the wall in a way. They believe they could win a Super Bowl. And I don't think I have a lot to say to disagree with that opinion. So this is more about their Super Bowl window for this season. So let's just start with 2023 season for the Lions. And what a year it was, right? If there was not, let's say, slightly too hugely controversial decision that was made late in the game with the Dallas, they could have fought for number 1 seed or at least be the number 2 seed for the conference. With that loss against Cowboys, they were kind of certain to end up third, which did not make them play their, or not certain, but almost for sure they would end up with the third spot. But they still played their starters because that's just Detroit mentality. They want to win, they want to bury you, they just want to play. So third, with 12-5 record, winning their division quite easily, 3 games up over Packers. And like what could go right went right. With one exception, that's like Jake Campbell. But even for him, he had quite a nice season for a rookie linebacker. But let's talk draft. They were highly criticized for what they have done in the draft. Drafting running back, whose name was not Bijan Robinson, in Jahmyr Gibbs as 12th overall pick, was highly criticized. When I will put up the grades for it, I believe they got like a D for it at best. Let me check on this one. Yeah, D plus was most of it. Then for Jack Campbell, they got B minus. Sam Laporta, C. Brian Branch, and A plus. Alright, so most of the criticism went to the first 3 picks. And Jahmyr Gibbs, I'm not gonna sit here and say I like that pick. Like, it felt like if you are drafting running back that high, it should be Bijan or nobody. And Jahmyr Gibbs just proved me wrong. Detroit proved me wrong. Huge kudos to them. He has been, I would say, much more than advertised. He was really exceptional. And the scary thing about him is he was nowhere near perfect. He fumbled several times. His hands, which was supposed to be his strength, like he should have been really good like passing back option. His hands were not that great, yet he was such a huge impact, you know? So it's kind of scary when you see that he should not be anywhere close to his ceiling, which for Detroit is amazing. For the rest of the league, it's kind of worrying. Then you go Jack Campbell, and this one I feel, yes, it's really, you guys heard me say it a lot of times, I would not draft a linebacker unless it's like, I don't know. I don't know who would I draft as linebacker in round 1. It would have not been Jake Campbell. I just don't think 2 or 3 years that you will get, at best, mediocre performance. It feels like for no matter who you draft as linebacker. It's just not worth it, in my opinion. And it kind of showed like Jake Campbell was decent, but not great. And yeah, I think they, given their struggles specifically in the cornerback room, if they have drafted a guy like Joey Porter, we could have been talking about the Super Bowl champion. Not to put any blame on Jake Campbell, there was much more blame on other guys' shoulders for that blue San Francisco lead. But yes, I don't think Jake Campbell was the hit. Then Sam Laporta, again, highly criticized pick. Dude, like, if Jahmyr Gibbs has been great, I might say that Sam Laporta has been even better. Like, absolute hit. You can definitely say the same about Brian Branch. So they've hit on 3 of their top 4 picks, and like in a way that almost nobody predicted, except with the exception of Brian Branch. And for Jack Campbell, again, he has not been a disaster at linebacker. This position just takes several years to develop. Therefore, expecting him to be major contributor year 1 was always a stretch. So we will see how it's gonna perform for going forward. Then come playoff, they actually, I believe, when talking about their game with Rams, I believe there were some controversial decisions that actually went in their favor. So Rams definitely did give them run for their money, and they were close to losing that game, only by 1 point. Then against Tampa, I feel like Tampa had their moments, had their chances, but overall it really felt like Detroit is kind of in control of the game. And the same was against 49ers. until several very aggressive decisions that have been made. None of them has worked. And that's where we go to one of my first topics to discuss about Lions, and that's key decision coaches and trust. And to me, this franchise, or the way it's been run, it kind of reminds me Seattle like 10 years ago. They kind of tried to do it their own way. They have been criticized heavily for some of their draft picks, just like Seattle back in the day. Their response is, we know what we are doing, we know why we want this player, it doesn't matter that nobody else gets it. And so far it's absolutely working, just like for Seattle back in the day. Then they try to also outsmart everyone, or just stick to their guts every single moment. And I must say, I love it. But it always is, when it's working, everybody's going to be on board. It's going to look magnificent. The moment one huge decision goes wrong, I feel like that's why Seattle imploded. Obviously, running the ball was the choice that a lot of, maybe everyone would have done. Pete Carroll likes not to do it. They pass the ball, and we all know the history. Unfortunately, for Seahawks fans such as myself, it gets reminded to us every single year. Not only in the Super Bowl, like I hear about that play like 15 times a year. It's really annoying, but it's a history. But ever since that, Seahawks just were not the same. And when you are trying to build a culture based on like a swagger, based on really hard work, I would say even like entertainment in a way, like you can feel the bond between these guys. It needs, and you can feel like the trust, the huge trust in this coaching staff, no matter what they do. It needs to survive this moment. It really needs to do it. Like, they need to trust Dan Campbell next time when he goes for it, because it's really hard not to be result oriented, especially for people because like we see results, and most like in NFL, it's like there's just one game in the playoff, right? Like, and then Campbell actually say, right, this opportunity may not arrive again. Like it might have been our only chance. It definitely might. Like, it's super hard to get that far. There are injuries. There are windows in terms of contracts. There are one bad place, one bad refereeing. Like anything can happen. And given there is only one game, always in the playoffs, it's just super hard not to be result oriented and not to think like, if we went the safe direction, we would have won the game. Like, first of all, you don't know that. Second of all, it's already past us. It doesn't, like, you might, again, you should do your due diligence, think about the situation, what should we do next time, but just don't bother yourself with it. Just continue and keep going. Like, unless you have a plethora of decisions that went wrong and actually on revision were wrong, then you should start losing trust. But it's not like when you're doing something whole year long, and even in regular season, it was sometimes it worked, sometimes it didn't. Just, we want to play this way, we want to be aggressive. That's who we are, that's what we trust the most. You cannot just say, oh, we should stop that because at the critical time it just didn't work. The coin flipped the wrong way. I mean, please don't do that. I hope for the Lions' sake that the trust in this coaching staff will prevail. And I think it's one of the key components of this team going forward that needs to happen for this team to go right. So we talk within this about the key coaches' decision, one of the topics. Obviously, losing to the 49ers definitely sucks. I feel like Lions could have been yet another really tough opponent to the Chiefs, though my money would probably be on the Chiefs because just Mahomes, just his thing. Winning is just his thing, but let's put this past. I don't think we need to spend a lot of time talking about free agency for the Lions, so we will do it through the rundown. So now let's start with the rundown. And here you can see player cards for the players that I believe were significant contributors in 2023 or will be in 2024. This is my aim, to get for you to know actually the players that you are watching, to kind of see them face by face or face to face. And like just think about it. There is 32 teams. There is more than 100 players entering training camps, 53 players on an active roster. I don't blame you if you don't know face of every single one of them. I'm not gonna show you everyone because that just would be way too many. I will be talking about like 30 to 40 guys that had or will have an impact, in my opinion. So let's just start with the weaponry, and we go Jared Goff, David Montgomery, Hendon Hooker, Sam Laporta, Jahmyr Gibbs, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Jameson Williams, Khalif Raymond, Antoine Green, James Mitchell, and Brock Wright. Here you can see a table how was this room constructed in terms of salary cap before the offseason started, and here is how it is right now. So what do you see with blue? Blue represents the actual cap hit that the player has against cap for the particular year. What you see with red number are void years. What are void years? Good question. This is something that you can add by restructuring a contract to a player's contract. He doesn't even have to agree to that. It has really close to no effect on his pay cut or on his salary. And what it essentially does, it allows you to have lower cap hit, for example, for 2024, while adding the same amount just in the future. So, for example, for David Montgomery, this means that for 2026, he will have a cap hit of 1.1 million while not being on the roster. Why would you do this? Obviously, you just try to work out the window to the best of your ability. So, for example, if you know that you have several guys on a rookie deals that you want to win now, in order to like maximize your option, you might take some veteran guys and try to say, okay, you are here for 2 years, 20 million, but we don't want to count against cap hit 10 years this year, 10 million this year and 10 next year. Let's just restructure it in a way that we count against cap hit 5 million this year, 10 million next year, and 5 million we will add to void years. So that's one of the jobs that definitely general managers are doing. So let's check and actually talk about the quality of the players, because in order to assess them and their contracts, you need to know how good they are. And we start with Jared Goff. And I might be too high on Jared Goff compared to other people. Because I really liked what I saw from him this year. And I think for this specific offense, he is one of the best QB they could have. Obviously, I'm not putting him like anywhere close to Lamar Jackson's, Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen's, and Joe Burrow's of the world. That to me is an elite category. But then when we start to talk about Justin Herbert's, Matthew Stafford's, Aaron Rodgers of the world, I'm not saying he is them, but he is really close to them. I would have him like bottom of that amazing starter player, but in a sense, I actually do believe he deserves to be graded this high. And the reason is he just improves in my eyes every single year. It's part of it is like I have a huge praise for him given his situation. Like, he was drafted to the Rams organization that at the time had really not a great coach to say. You could have seen it in Hard Knocks. I'm not gonna go any further in that. He was put behind really bad O-line with really bad play calling. He was pretty much murdered his first season. Like, he looked more like a bust than Bryce Young did, and it's pretty much like he just didn't have anything to play with. Like, that was really ugly. Then he gets Sean McVay, He gets Rams to the Super Bowl, but they lose. And the feeling in the organization was, we are not going to win Super Bowl with Jared Goff. And was it right? Was it wrong? Maybe it was right, because they have won it with Matthew Stafford. But Jared Goff was kind of dumped to the Lions as, we need to dump his salary off, you will take it on, we will compensate you for that, and we are essentially done with Jared. And at that point of the time, it felt like for Jared, he's gonna earn that nice contract, because Rams actually gave him the second contract in the NFL, which now was being paid by Lions. And Lions are taking up on this because, they get a plethora of draft picks for that. So it was like, we will build around this, and given time, we will lose Jared, or we will cut him when the opportunity arises to do it nicely. But Jared was like, I don't think so. And he really, to me, improves year by year. He is definitely a quarterback that is really dependent on the roster around him, because he is not mobile. He needs, I think, very good O-line in front of him. He needs some playmakers, but when he has that, he really knows the game. He played over 8,000 snaps in NFL. The game just looks really good from him. He knows where to throw the ball. He has the reads. He can manipulate the O-line and the D-line. He really is, I would not say like Tom Brady in terms of how he can signal what the defense is doing, but he really is getting to that very best tier in terms of reading the defenses. Like, he just knows it. He just been there. He just saw it. He just knows. Yeah. So that's Jared Goff to me. That's one of the things that I start to notice more and more on him. And yeah, would I take him over, Justin Herbert? No. But for $32.3 million, that is his cap hit for this year, he might be like second to third most valuable quarterback based on the money he's earning, when we are not talking rookies. I think I would only take Mahomes' contract over Jared Goff because it's Patrick Mahomes. No one else. Period. Like, for the money we're paying him, it's period. You might say someone, Josh Allen has like 20 million cap hit this year. It's not about cap hit. It's obviously about the average salary you are paying for Josh Allen. So his average cap hit is like 55 million. And I don't think he is twice as better. Or if I could have Jared Goff for 32 million or Josh Allen for 55, I'm taking Jared Goff. And it's no disrespect to Josh Allen. Sorry, Josh, but I would rather have two great players next to Jared for that 25 million than upgrade, because Josh Allen is definitely an upgrade to Jared Goff. Like, no questions asked. He just is. But I really believe that what Jared is really amazing starting quarterback. Then they drafted Hendon Hooker behind him. I don't see him as a replacement, and as a backup, why not? Then we go and we take a look at this running back room. David Montgomery, Jahmyr Gibbs, one of the most exciting running backs room in the league. Both, in my head, very good starters. With David Montgomery, kind of, this is his ceiling and kind of his floor. He really feels like he is just a very good player. With Jahmyr Gibbs, you might say he should be higher. I'm saying no. There was still he has really a lot to do to be an elite, because he needs to clean his hands. He needs to clean the fumble. When he does that, which I definitely believe he has potential to do, he can be in the next Christian McCaffrey, really that tier of a guy. For right now, he is a very good starter in my opinion, with really high chance to be an amazing starter in my ranking very soon in 2024 season. Alright, what about the weaponry in terms of wide receivers? Amon-Ra St. Brown. So, what do we know about this guy? His dad is Mr. Olympia, and he is the best slot wide receiver in the NFL, and it's not even close. Like, this dude is on another planet in terms of slot wide receivers, but that will come with one knock on this team, which I will have. They are really exceptional in like short to medium gain and game, But in terms of deep threats, they have Jameson Williams, who for 2 years have not repaid them for his high draft. First he got injured, then he got suspended for violating like gambling something, because it's not like he bet on NFL or anything, but he was betting on something else inside the facility. Got a 6-game suspension. Really, he has shown glimpses of what he can do, but for a team that definitely has Super Bowl aspiration this year, there is a question mark about their ability to stretch the ball down the field, because it really feels like Jameson Williams is kind of their best and sort of the only option, and he is not proven and not great. So when you see me making mock draft for this team, I definitely believe that Xavier Worthy could be very, very interesting piece to play around here. Just this blazing speed, really deep threat, where either I have this idea that maybe you just let them both run, just stretch the field and just kill, unless the team really focuses on them, then you just try the deep balls and you have really good chance of converting big plays. If teams focuses on them, the middle of the field, which you are absolutely exceptional, Jahmyr Gibbs, David Montgomery, St. Brown, Sam Laporta, whom we have not talked yet about. You are one of the best team, if not the best team, especially with Jared Goff. Like, he thrives in that situation. So you are either damned if you do or damned if you don't. So you either like allow Xavier Worthy and Jameson Williams to just go one-on-one with deep balls. Good luck, any defensive options there. Or you are not overmatching the numbers in the middle, and good luck defending Amon-Ra one-on-one within 2 years of release the ball. Like, good freaking luck. If for some reason that's way too crazy option, just have 2 guys running deep routes every single play, which probably is. Let's just do it with 1 player and just substitute Jameson Williams and Xavier Worthy pretty much every single play. I would be interested to see this kind of really crazy concept. I don't think it's like a real possibility that someone would do that, but I would be intrigued to see it, and I would definitely mock Xavier Worthy here. And they are, I think, in a decent enough position to actually draft him. Now let's talk about tight ends here. Sam Laporta, an exceptional year 1. He is definitely on track to get towards that second tier behind Kittle and Kelsey. I don't think he's gonna reach their level this year, but he is definitely tight end with that potential and easily can be amazing starter very soon in the year, and elite, maybe even elite. Behind him, Brock Wright, James Mitchell, kind of solid options. I'm kind of happy that you've kept Brock Wright on the roster, like 3 years, 12 million. I think it's a good contract. Slight an overpay, probably, but he knows here, he plays hard, he knows what you want to do. I have no problem with the continuity there. And, let's just mention it here. Ben Johnson said to the Commanders, "No, I'm not interested. After all, I rather want to stay with the Lions." That is obviously a huge win for the Lions and for this offense, because he is definitely up there with the best offensive coordinators in the league. If you're not counting head coaches, he's going to be probably top 3 easily. So that was your offense in terms of weaponry. How do I rank these guys? I'm going to give it an A. I feel like you have a bit of a problem with that missing deep threat, but I would not be surprised if this group, like week 4, week 5, I have them A+, because Laporta, Gibbs, Jameson, Goff looks apart or looks even better than they did last season. That is just elite, man, and I would give it A+. Now let's talk about offensive line. And here, obviously, it's time to meet these guys. So, if you want to see them face to face, now it's your time, and let's go. So, Taylor Decker, Frank Ragnow, Penei Sewell, Jonah Jackson, Graham Glasgow, Halapulivaitai. Hope I said it right. And again, here we were before the offseason started. And here we are right now. So, okay, I have not mentioned, if you see a yellow over the number, it means 5th year option. So for Penei Sewell, they have 5th year option for 2025, which 100% they will pick up. And when we started talking about him, let's just talk about Penei Sewell. I think at this point, you can flip a coin if it's Penei Sewell or Trent Williams, who is the best offensive lineman in the league. I will not just say tackles. I think they are the best offensive linemen in the league. It's this top two. I don't have anyone at the same level with these guys, despite I have another guys ranked as elite. But in terms of impact, in terms of the position they play, Penei Sewell and you can question Penei Sewell that he is only right tackle, so maybe because of that you would take a crown and give it to Trent Williams still. But man, oh man, this guy is just freaking amazing. Like 3 years in the league and he's just nasty, man. Like he's just already one of the best run blockers that we have ever seen, like ever. pure that. And he just plays with that Dan Campbell mentality, really. Hard working, went to Michigan in terms of university. Like he just is the right fit here, and he is absolutely exceptional. No, I'm sorry, he went to Oregon. Michigan was obviously Aiden Hutchinson. Misspoke. But easily the best right tackle in the league, and I'm really curious in how much he's going to demand 2026 and forward. I think he might even be a type of guy that will take some sort of more friendly deal for the organization in order for them to have a chance to win, though it's still going to be a huge bag of money. Then you go to the other side, and Taylor Decker is just very good player, really solid left tackle. Again, I will repeat myself, there is a lot of really good left tackles in the league. So is he top 10? Probably on the verge. Probably would put him like 11 and 12, but that's just an appreciation of the other left tackles, not a knock on Taylor Decker. And then you have Frank Ragnow, who is, in my head, with Creed Humphrey and Tyler Lindenbaum, the top 3 centers in the league. I would probably put Ragnow on top. And man oh man, when we talk about centers, it's not usually the position that you pay like super high amount of money. But I would say that Frank Ragnow, $40 million a year, he is underpaid. And you have him for next 3 years on that pay. So exceptional deal for the team. He, again, is just the guy that he just gets it. Like he just plays hard. You could have seen it with their playoff run. He was playing injured. It was one of the best stories out there. Like he was just doing everything he could for this team to win, no matter kind of his own body. And the good, the exceptional stops there for the Lions, but the good, no. Graham Glasgow, keeping him on really nice, friendly deal. He's like $6 million a year for a good starter on guard. We've seen how much you can pay other guards, and then bring Kevin Zeitler here over from Baltimore on 1 year, $6 million type of deal. What is there not to like? I don't get why Baltimore kind of helps the competition, because to me, if you can resign him for $6 million, you definitely should. I think that's good value for money. And he just completes the best O-line in the league. You can make arguments if you want. I urge you to try, but you won't. It's going to be really hard to persuade me that this is not the best O-line in the league, because I think with Jason Kelce retirement, it's not that close, to be honest. You can definitely argue one thing. Where's depth? And I'm going to say there is not much of a depth here. So this guy needs to stay healthy. I wonder if it's something they will try to address in terms of draft, just draft some guys to maybe be a successor to Kevin Zeitler, maybe even to Tyler Decker. But for what is it right now, for these guys don't have like a huge injury concerns, best online in the league, I have to grade them as a plus. I think in terms of salary cap, like you cannot get that much better than this, and absolutely amazing job. And like I think even I could run some things behind this O-line. That's how good they are. Now it's time to meet defensive line and linebackers. So it's time to put your eyes back on the prize, back on your monitors, and let's check these guys. So Aiden Hutchinson, John Kaminsky, Levi Onwuzurike, Josh Pascal, Ali McNeil, Derek Barnes, Alex Anzalone, Jack Campbell, Malcolm Rodriguez, Marcus Davenport, DJ Reader, and Jalen Reeves. Maben. Here we were before the offseason started, and here we are right now. And I'm gonna start by saying, what the freaking hell is DJ Reader doing on this roster for 2 years, 24 million? I mean, what's going wrong with the Bengals and Ravens? Why are you letting Kevin Zeitler sign to Detroit for 1 year, 6 million and DJ Reader 2 years, 24 million? Like, why don't you resign these guys for this amount of money? Like, I absolutely don't get it for DJ Reader. I believe he's at least 15 million a year type of player. I think he's even much more. I don't get it. Like, if it was not like him saying, I really want that ring, this gets me there, though. If that's the case, like, you can definitely make a case, okay, you can stay with Bengals if you want to do that. I don't get this contract, man. Like, from his side. From Detroit side, it's exceptional contract. He is one of the top 10 defensive tackles in the league. I have him as an amazing starter. I feel like he might be a bit underrated by like a general public, but he is really, really great. You add to that Ali McNeil, that's really developing into a nice quality starter. Unfortunately, you cannot say the same with Levi Onwuzurike. That development just did not happen to the best of his abilities, but maybe he showed something later in the year. But with Reader and McNeil, you are set inside. And then look at the edge. They were able to bring Marcus Davenport here. 1 year, 6 million. Again, they have added some void years, one void year, in order to be able to bring him here. Very nice. Number 2 behind Aiden Hutchinson, who I have him as an elite guy, which I need to explain myself. I don't think he is at the same level as Nick Bosa, TJ Watt, Myles Garrett, Micah Parsons, and Max Crosby. I think he is a step behind them. But to me, it would be unjust to not say that he is elite. You can have elite and elite guys, and I think he is an elite guy. And he just played 2 years. Scary. That's scary. They have him for next 3 years. Good luck every opposing offensive line. Sorry. John Kaminsky as your number 3. George Pascal. You also have Derek Barnes that could play some edge. Great room, good depth, really nicely set up. So interior is very good. Edge is very good. Are at least linebackers a problem? Well, yes, in a bit. Like, you have Alex Anzalone, good starter. Then Jack Campbell obviously invested heavily in last year's draft. You hope he's developing. Malcolm Rodriguez, Derek Barnes, really good players. So you have good depth. Nothing special for linebackers. But he should not be a problem. And if Jack Campbell actually gets the game, he has physical traits to be really good linebacker. I mean, probably won't be your strength. Definitely not this year. But it sure as hell should not be a problem. Overall, how I would grade this group? I have to give it an A, man. Like A minus could be on some people's mind, and I won't be against it. I think it's really close to that. But I really feel like you have number ones all across the board, with your worst number one being your linebacker, which is the position you want to have the worst number one. You have really good number twos. You have some potential. Like, what is there not to like? So, yeah, A or A minus. I can get behind both of these grades. I will stick with an A for this group. And then we go and check the secondary. Also, if you guys are hearing like, it seems almost like a jingle bell noises, it's just my cats or my kittens playing with a toy. They kind of have this habit that whenever I'm talking, they try to do something. So if it's inconvenient for you, I'm really sorry, but I hope you can forgive them. It's just two kittens playing with the toys. So let's meet the secondary, and we start with Cam Sutton, Brian Branch, Ifa Melifonwu, Kirby Joseph, Tracy Walker, Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, Carlton Davis, Emmanuel Mosley, and Amik Robertson. Here we were before the offseason started, and here we are right now. So obviously the big story is Cam Sutton and him being charged by the police, then him escaping the police. Right now he's been charged, he's been caught, or he actually came forward, I believe. He might face time in prison. What is there to say? Like, if what they have him charged for is real, he probably deserves a prison time, or he most likely deserves prison time. It's bad thing for the Lions, but obviously it's good that police acts when there's a reason to act, which in this case definitely seems like so. What is there to say? I just hope the justice system is gonna do right by him, not trying to just punish him because he's famous, or just not trying to give him pass because he's famous. So it's always like two sides of the pretty much the same coin in a way. But let's talk about the rest of this group. Carlton Davis as pretty much 1 year, 14 million type of signing, because he has 3 million void years next to come. It really speaks a volume about how stretched their cap hit is, because this contract is not really excellent. They really needed to stretch money down the line, and they kind of needed to have a grown up in terms of, we need a guy that's really good in the room, which with Carlton Davis I'm not sure that you necessarily have done, but it kind of is like, we now have 4 cornerbacks, neither of them is complete disaster. All of them are decent enough starters, with Amik Robertson, Emmanuel Mosley, and Ifa Melifonwu. And they probably cannot hold with the best of the best, but, well, maybe Vikings trade Justin Jefferson. And if they're not, it's probably either Sam Darnold or a rookie QB throwing the ball to them. So maybe we can, survive 1 year on that. In terms of Green Bay, they have similar situation for wide receivers. They have a lot of good guys, not necessarily someone special, so it could match quite nicely against them. Obviously, there is a huge room to grow with the Packers, so eventually it could be a problem. But as of right now, when you go and look at your division, the last is like Chicago Bears. Again, they probably have DJ Moore that's gonna give you a lot of trouble. But if Caleb Williams struggles, then you can, maybe the quarterback play is not there to back him up. And I would say for sure this is the area that they will address in the draft, because, after this year, they only have Amik Robertson on a contract when you're talking about really important cornerbacks. For safeties, Brian Branch, Kirby Joseph. Brian Branch is more of a slot corner than safety, actually. So you can definitely more put him into the group, which actually in a way makes the cornerback room more secure while actually making a much bigger problem of your safety room, because then it's only Kirby Joseph in a way. And so with this being more or less the case, though Brian Branch, he definitely ended the year as a slot corner, but will they, if they don't like what they have in terms of safeties, maybe he's gonna come back and play more of the safety rather than slot corner. Overall, this group, it doesn't feel like there is like a super huge weakness, though it feels like you have a hole in terms of safety. I would not put it behind them that there is another route. That route name is Justin Simmons. If he lowers his contract evaluation, maybe you take a flyer on someone like Jamal Adams. Quandre Diggs is still out there. Like, there is still a lot of good safeties out there that you can target with free agency if you don't get your guy through the draft, which definitely this is one area that I'm pretty much certain they will target, and I definitely that I targeted in my mock drafts for the Lions. With that, I think the wide receiver is another, but we will get to that. Overall, if I would rank this group, I will give them C+. Plus is there because I don't see like a huge living. I will give it a C. I will, with that like kind of missing second safety or really not having a star, I think C is much more adequate to this group. Yeah, I will go with C. Now let's talk about coaches and special teams. Well, to me, this is the best coaching trio in the league. And you have what you need to have. You have Dan Campbell as a tone setter, as a mojo guy, as really the guy that will give this team the swagger, the energy, the hard work, emotions. That's Dan Campbell. Like, he's not X and O's guys. He is hard working, really emotional dude that's just gonna bring a shit ton of energy. Really reminds me of Pete Carroll. Maybe Dan Campbell is much more emotional, but really, that's where like my comparison to what the Seahawks were like 10 years ago really come from. And then you have Ben Johnson, like I said, easily top 3 offensive coordinator when we just speak about them. Even if you put head coaches in the mix, I don't think he goes beyond top 5. Aaron Glenn, really one of the better to best defensive coaches in the league. So what is there not to like? I think in terms of trio, only Andy Reid and Steve Spagnuolo and Matt Nagy with the Chiefs are like on the same level, I would say. Where like I think that they are in a way on the same level, but I think like this trio is much more equipped to work here, while Andy Reid and Spags and Nagy are much more equipped to work with Chiefs. So they are at their best positions, and they are creme de la creme in terms of coaching trees, in my opinion, for the league. When I talk about the whole trio, I'm not like taking down Sean McVay and any other guys. I'm really taking the trio as a whole. In terms of special teams, like Fox is kind of good. Michael Badgley, slightly below average. Definitely not a group that I want to count for, but given the rest of the squad or the roster, I probably don't have to. And they are not atrocious that by themselves, I don't think they should ruin my season. No, I would not put it behind me to have a better kicker than Michael Badgley. Like I said, there is still like 20 millions in terms of cap space for the Lions, so anything we do in terms of mock drafts, I feel like they might really twist it with like one more free agent addition. And with that, let's just talk about what my mock drafts for them would be. So I have 3 here. The first one is pretty straightforward. I'm saying I have really special O-line, not necessarily the youngest in the league. Let's just give them really good guys behind them. in terms of prospects, let them learn from what we are having, and with that, let's have some depth. With that, one more pick that we spent is on Brandon Rice. Just give me another potential playmaker for the offense. Second draft is, I think, much more rounded in terms of I do trust this O-line. I do not necessarily have that much worry about their health, so I try to improve this defense. I take my best pick and use it on safety, which I think is my biggest hole. Then I take, let's say, a luxury pick for that offense, adding depth. And then while I think edge and D-line or like inside is really good setup, one exciting defensive option for each of these groups could come handy with Gabriel Murphy and Devon Carter. Second draft is pretty much the same, or the third one is pretty much the same, while I'm not addressing my biggest need, so I'm not a huge fan of this one. This one is more like in tune with Detroit. We want to win with our lines. Let's just draft lines pretty much. We kind of have our skill players, and maybe this is the draft that I'm like for sure, or could be a possibility if we bringing Justin Simmons in, for example. And then let's talk about my last draft, which is this one. This here is the one and only when I could get my hands on Xavier Worthy. I already talked about how I would really like him with Jackson Powers-Johnson. I feel like for him, he can definitely play guard. So him being the backup option to Frank Ragnow and a guy that I think can play like all three positions in terms of interior offensive line is very valuable, because neither of these guys like are 100% locked, no ever injury concerns. Like also they have some age concerns, like Kevin Zeitler. And with the last pick, Kyrie Jackson, it's kind of, I don't have cornerbacks going forward, so maybe I actually need one. Again, I think you can only do that if you address safety in terms of free agency, because other than that, you definitely need to go for safety, in my opinion. Let's, for the last, just talk about Superbowl window for Detroit Lions. It's easy. It's open. It's really open. They are, I think, like 4th or 5th team in terms of Vegas odds right now, and second best favorites for the conference, if I'm not mistaken. Let me check this one out. Where we go here. Yeah, they are behind 49ers, slightly ahead of Cowboys. How about them Cowboys? Okay. What is it gonna be for 2025 and 2026? That's, I think, really where we can have a discussion, and we will end with that one. So there are several factors you need to count for. First one is you still have guys under contracts, I think, with the exception of Amon-Ra St. Brown, from your biggest stars. So in terms of cap space, you should not be super bad on it. But you don't also have Jared Goff under contract, and you need to make a decision. Your division should get tougher. I feel like either Vikings will hit on Sam Darnold on 1-year rental and he's just going to be great, or they will draft a QB, and I really believe that they are very well set up to make him work. So while I don't think Vikings are necessarily a team that should win this division this year, I would not rule it out for next season. Chicago, you expect them to go up with Caleb Williams, DJ Moore. Really, they are very well set with what they are. And Packers, one of the most exciting teams in the league. So this division should get really freaking hard. With that in mind, my approach to this situation would be, let's not resign Jared Goff to a long-term contract. As much as I praise him, I feel like he really needs the guys around him, and with like a worse O-line, which inevitably would have to happen when you have to pay guys like Penei Sewell, like Amon-Ra St. Brown, I do not trust that he would be able to be as good as he is right now. And I think that his dip would be much bigger than for like a normal amazing quarterback, because I think his dependencies are higher. So to me, he is really good guy when you have ton of young weapons on rookie deals, and he will elevate them, he will use them to the best of their abilities, but he is not a guy I want to pay 60 million a year and expect him to lift up mediocre offense. I don't think he is that guy. I can be wrong, of course. But to me, I would not sign him to a long-term contract. What I would do is I would try to either get him for like 2 years, 100 million, or even franchise take him for like a 60 million for next season, because I honestly believe the next year still should be within your peak window. But after that, given the division should get tougher year in year out, given that you will face another high pay raise for other guys, I would start to look for cheaper option in terms of quarterback for 26 and going forward. I don't think the Hendon Hooker is the answer. So if that's on anyone's radar, I really don't think that's the case. But to me, I'm sorry, cat just jumped here. I will not put him because he didn't give me like permission to show him, cat rights. But if he just walks in, you will get to see him. He is really one little bad boy, right? And let's get back to my point. Really think 1 year is the window, really peak window. I think for next year you are still in the loop, and then going forward, I think you should take a look at cheaper option. Probably draft a guy you won't have like high draft picks. So I would not be like super against even trying to get someone this year as like a second or third round flyer. But at the same time, I feel like why I'm just trying to really win now. So to me, window is wide freaking open for 24. Depending on what you do with Jared Goff, I think it will remain very much open for 25. For 26, I do believe that you should take a year when we maybe close it down a bit, get some warmth within our house, and then just spread it out for 27 and going forward. Hello. You cannot still see him. He was really trying to be not detected by my camera, but he was just walking behind my front screen. Okay, that's it for me. That's it for the Lions. It's definitely a really fun conversation, really fun team to watch. I absolutely love Dan Campbell. I hope he does well. I'm glad that someone with his level of enthusiasm and emotion, we get to see that pretty much every single day, and it's amazing. I might rewatch Hard Knocks with the Lions because it really feels like it's worth given the personalities that they have within the roster, within the organization. For me, that's it. Let me know how you like new camera, how you like new angle. Hope it was fine. I hope there's not too much of me. And we are about 53 hours before the draft. I'm not sure obviously where we post this. It should be all up within the 40 hours, so you can get to watch it before the draft. And then I hope we meet for the draft night with my first stream. I'm trying to make everything work. I'm not a tech guy, but I have help, so I hope this all gonna go fine. Thank you everyone for watching. See you with the next one. The next one is kind of gonna be either 28th episode if you go by this, or it might be the next one, might be the Browns and last 32nd episode. 32. Oh my god. Okay. Till that, have a nice day. Bye bye. And I will tell your best regards to both my cats. I believe you will want to do that. Bye.